From the canticle of the dragon, thus began the age of despair. The roads were tangled.
The winds and the sandstorms dwelt in the husks of cities.
The plains and mountains became our home.
As the old gods lost their power, we called to the blank sky.
Into the cold, dividing gray, to the ears of new gods.
The sky is calm, silent, unmoving. We have yet to hear their answer.
Their answer.
Their answer.
Their answer.
Their answer.
We have yet to hear their answer. Love. Love. Hawthorne's final words follow you, haunt you. In the dark halls of Solinari's Light Hospital, the sanitarium twisted by the unspeakable evils that have occurred here this night, you hear them again. Love. Even now, you can hear the hissing whispers of Hawthorne's children behind bloody curtains, through broken doors, in shadowy corners of this building. You stand at the doorway. Behind you, the monsters that are very much like you are now. And before you awaits the coming dawn. The sun's light is just beginning to spill over the horizon, spraying the sky with rich reds and deep purples. You find yourself there, looking out from this hillside compound. Below you, you can see the devastated town of Harthalen, much of its buildings now smoldering, smoking ruins, some of them still on fire. And there, between the hospital and the town below, you see Sir Riordan on the ground, cradling the still form of Anuria. As you stand there, Oberyn, what are you doing? What are you thinking?
I'm just trying to process everything. I mean, it was only one night. Yet everything feels like it's both raw as it just happened and distant as if it happened long ago. And my look towards my friends, starting to take a few steps towards them.
At your feet is your adopted sister, Lilly, unconscious, badly hurt. You dragged her there to the edge of the doorway, and she's still breathing, but she's not responsive. You take one step past her outside of the hospital. Roll me a perception check.
Sorry, roll 20 is not responding. Be right on that.
That sounds like roll 20.
Yep. Perception.
For a second, you linger there. You catch something out of the corner of your eye, and you happen to look back over your shoulder. And there, leaning up against the frame of the doorway, the open door to Solinari's Light Hospital, you see an ivory warhammer, one that belonged to Hawthorne, your old friend, your brief lover, your creator, the one who turned you into what you are now, something not quite human, not quite alive. And right next to the head of the warhammer, you see the glimmering emerald gem that had been embedded into its hilt. It's just laying there on the ground.
I know what this hammer did to an old friend of mine. I know that although it was in Hawthorne's hands, how it was connected to him in some way. Cracks in it led to cracks in his mind or vice versa. And Ephraim just takes the heel of her boot and steps on the emerald.
Roll me an athletics check. You bring the heel of your boot down onto the emerald, and you don't hear anything beneath the weight of your body. When you move your foot and you look down at this emerald, you will see now it's not cracked like it was before. It's perfect. It's catching what's rising of the morning light, and as you're looking down at the emerald, you hear a gasp of air from the direction of Sir Riordan behind you.
Gonna take the edge of her cloak and just wrap her hand in it and pick it up, try not to touch it directly before turning and looking.
As you turn and look towards Sir Riordan, you see Anuria gasping for air. She's sat up pretty suddenly, her eyes fluttered open. You watch as she sort of rises with the help of her staff and with Sir Riordan supporting her weight. And they seem to be having a quiet conversation between the two of them as they look down towards the town and towards the horizon where the sun is rising. Roll me one more perception check. You'd almost forgotten about him for a moment. Now them, your newest ally, who'd fought Lord Soth with you, he's off to the side and he's watching the two of them, their backs turned to him. You happen to catch him for a moment. Your eyes lock with his. He mouths a word and then he vanishes.
Eyes definitely narrow. But there are more pressing things on hand. And so I think she'll check on Lilly again. Make sure she's stable.
She's stable. She's breathing very slowly, but it's steadily. Her face is pale, but not blue. But she doesn't wake up if you shake her or touch her at all. She's unconscious. You're not sure if she needs medical attention or time.
Yeah. Knowing that she's not going to go anywhere soon. Start running towards Riordan and Anuria.
Roll me a Constitution saving throw. You begin carrying Lilly, or are you leaving her there?
I'm leaving her there for now.
You begin rushing towards Sir Riordan and Anuria as they continue to converse, their backs turned to you. As the sun finally appears over the horizon, you can see its yellow light, and for a moment you can see nothing else. It sears your eyes. You can smell the burning of your hair. You look down at your hand and you see your flesh beginning to char and turn black. You're able to resist it, but it's extremely painful. Even with a natural 20, you're still going to take half damage, which is 5 radiant damage.
Okay. There's a sharp hiss of pain as starts to kind of almost reflexively just pulls the cloak around her tighter, as if that would help, so she doesn't know, she doesn't dare to check.
Roll me an Arcana check. And tell me, are you pressing on?
I think she's going to back away a bit.
You slink back towards, back into the building or somewhere else?
Back towards the building.
You slink back through the door into that long shadow, and again, you can hear the hissing of your kindred creatures within the shadows of the Solinari Light Hospital. As you stand there, and you see your skin begin to regenerate, begin to heal slowly. It still hurts. You feel a humming, a vibration, and as you unwrap the cloth that you had wrapped around that gem, it's now glowing. You get the sense that something wants to interact with you, or vice versa.
Nope. Stuffing that back into the bag.
You stuff it back in. It still vibrates for a time. You're safe now, it seems.
Yeah, and as I look at my hand as it starts to heal much faster than any living creature should. Just waits by the door until they're finished their conversation.
As she's waiting, what's that thought that she's holding in her mind? Or is there one?
She's half amused. Always knew that it was more better suited for shadows anyways.
As you stand there at the dawn, we go over to Anuria Salanthus. Anuria, you stand looking off at the same sun as Averin, having been brought back from the brink of death. You vowed to go north with the night. Your heart and your mind set on finding a place called the Ivory Hills, and perhaps there the Lake of Sounds, which you've been searching for since you came to this land. What was it like, though, for Anuria to look beyond the black curtain into death and into the abyss? What did she see there on the other side before Sir Riordan brought her back?
A black sea of nothing. Every deep, dark, twisted fear magnified by 10,000 times. Her father was everywhere. Everywhere. And then she was alone. No magic. No voice. No direction. 1 step, 1,000 steps, 1,000,000. It's the same nothingness. Perhaps the most horrible torture of all. True helplessness, true nothing.
Did she try to escape? Did she understand what was happening to her, or was she confused?
Time didn't exist. It just simply wasn't there. She would have tried to focus, to coalesce her energy into something, but it would have amounted into nothing. I think that she wouldn't have realized or would have felt like she was trapped for thousands of years.
I need you, Anuria, to make me 3 charisma saving throws.
13, 19, and 22 as my spellbook, if I get the opportunity, gives me a +1 to saving throws, which I may or may not have been negating this entire campaign.
So that's 2 successes. As you pull back from the dark, as you're brought back by that voice that, arise, Anuria. You do see one face there in the darkness, something that's not just blackness. You see the haggard old face of Sir Gerhardt, the man whose body you've most recently taken. And as you part from the afterlife, or right on the brink of it, and come back from the edge of death, you feel him come back with you. He's there. Maybe it's just his memories, or maybe it's something more. But you can feel him now as you stand there with Sir Riordan.
Night.
As you speak Sir Riordan's name, we're going to cut away to our night for a moment. Sir Riordan Pathwarden, it has been a long night of carnage and battle, and you stand there before the dawn, having survived your second encounter with Lord Soth. You've witnessed Anuria come back from the brink of death, as if a prayer whispered by you had true power, something that's very rare in the world now. She's gripping your arbor now, her fingers weak. She's cackling, saying something about the Ivory Hills, and you find yourself looking out at the coming dawn and into the village below. You see there a dozen knights riding through the western gates of Harthalen. One of the knights sounds a horn, and it's answered just moments later by several other horns beyond the walls of the city, in the western woods from whence you entered the town. What's going through Sir Riordan's mind right now?
Sir Riordan has been hammered, as has all of his friends, and he knows that they're in no condition to engage in another fight, and if these knights are anything like the knights that they've come across in this land, this is not a fight to have.
Anuria, we must go. Come on.
And he's going to assist, if allowed.
Absolutely. And even as you both turn towards each other to speak to one another, she says, "Night," and you say, "Anuria, we must go." You find yourselves eye to eye for a moment. And then you realize that Navem, who is standing right there with you, is gone.
Yes, we must go. Wizard, are you with me?
I am. I am.
Dawn,
Yes.
real quick, like, how close are these? This is just from their elevation by the Solinari's Rest that we can see everybody coming in. They haven't identified us yet. They're not like wheeling around towards us, are they?
So if you were to look down at the town below you, basically there are, roll me a perception check. I'll tell you how much you see.
Why don't you just tell me?
No.
Hell's a strong, mighty 9.
You can see that they're entering through the west gate. So the way the town is laid out, it's not a large town. You have a western gate, the inn in which you were staying, and then a small area of the town that's more upscale. This is where there are multi-story manors and whatnot. A large area of the town that's shanty town or poorer housing. And then at the edge of that poorer housing is the hill that rises up to the largest building in Harthalen, which is Solinari's Light Hospital. And that's where you are. So you see them by way of elevation. But as the knights are coming into the town, some of them are dismounting horses. More of them are coming through the woods towards the main gate. Some of them are moving into buildings. None of them have seen you. There is a great distance between you. Right now, they are small. They would have to really be looking for you to even notice that you are up at the hill.
Okay, so not rushing or running or, trying to crouch or moving in any method of stealth. He is just going to slowly assist Anuria up.
It is time to go. This is a casual retreat.
I understand. I would like to leave this place as quickly as possible.
And so he will assist and move, looking around for anybody else. He knows Rook is gone. He knows that Navem is left. And he's going to see if he can place eyes on Averin and Lorelei and see if they're anywhere around.
We're just advancing backwards, everyone, in chat. It's all right. It's a military maneuver.
Tactical backing up. You see Averin there with Lilly inside the hospital, right at the edge, and the shadow is cast over her, so she's not directly in the light. She seems to be peering out after you.
Averin, we must go now.
I know. Little bit of a problem, though. And gonna hold up my hand, which is probably somewhat in the middle of healing. I tried to get to the two of you to help.
Cover yourself. Cloak, some type of shade.
Right. Oh. Try to stay in the shadows as always.
Need to make your own now.
And he'll take off his own cloak and hand it over.
Yeah, she'll take it, probably quite large for her. And just kind of basically try to hold it over herself, like almost like an umbrella, I guess.
You're able to cover yourself up fairly well.
Hold on one sec, Don. Let's see if we can't get Tia back in here. Go to a quick break, everybody, until we can get her Zoom reset.
We'll be right back. And we're back. So as we all kind of reunite inside of Solinari's Light Hospital, Avrin, you're wearing Sir Riordan's cloak over your head. It's much larger than you. He's a large, athletic guy. So you're not sure if it'll work or not, but you're definitely feeling more covered than you were before. Go ahead and roll me Anuria and Avrin perception checks.
And we'll use an inspiration for this.
All right. So that's your second nat 20 of the day. Get those out of the way now. Avrin, as you're standing there, you kind of peering through the little crack in your hood, you see the main host of knights, 12 of them, riding down the main street, west to east, towards the hill that rises up to the hospital. They're not here yet. You've got a couple of minutes, but they seem to be coming in the main direction, and they're not trotting, they're riding. They're trampling over broken pieces of building, things that have burned down, and they seem to be moving with some sort of importance. You also happen to notice that there is another road from this hill. It's not just an east to west road. There is a south-north road that leads to what looks like, down at the bottom of the hill on the north side, some sort of maybe carriage house. There's a stable there with several horses. Anuria, with a 5 perception, I think you've just come back from the edge of death, and there's still a lot of confusion for you right now.
Yeah. Avrin will just kind of turn to Sir Riordan. We may want to go by horse. There's a road that way to a carriage house.
Fine. I believe that they owe us mounts for the work that we have done here. Payment, perhaps.
Perhaps. All right. Avrin's gonna try her best to take Lilly with her, because that's the kind of person she is.
Riordan will carry, if allowed.
Yeah. Well,
Carry
definitely.
Lilly.
Yeah.
So Avern, roll me one more Constitution saving throw.
All right, using another inspiration.
So you feel you feel that the hood is protecting you mostly, but it can't protect every sliver of your skin, and where the light touches, it sears. With a 13, even with the protection of the hood, you're still going to take 5 radiant damage as you kind of rush out. And you're kind of moving downhill at such an angle that you're able to find, as you go along, reprieve here and there behind a tree. You know, it's
Don,
you're doing,
sorry to interrupt.
yes.
Sorry to interrupt you, buddy. The cameras went wonky again. We're gonna go check and see. Every time that Tia loses connection, all of our cameras shift into kind of overcorrect for it. So we're gonna go see if we can get her back on. If not, I'll reset cameras and we'll be right back, guys. Sorry about this.
We're back with the party descending south to north down the hill towards what looks like a stables or a carriage house of some sort, even as the knights that have entered the town on the west end are riding towards the hill. As you move quickly, Averin trying to keep herself covered up with her cloak so the sun doesn't burn her flesh, she's not entirely able to keep herself protected. There's still little bits of skin that are exposed, and where they are exposed, they burn. And you, Sir Riordan and Anuria, you can hear the hissing. You can hear the crackle and peeling of her flesh. Averin, you will take 5 more radiant damage.
Yeah.
How's Averin looking right now?
She's doing okay. But you can tell that there's her breathing is kind of very tight as she's trying not to show how much pain she's in right
now. So as you're getting closer and you're now about halfway down this hill, are you trying to move stealthily at all, or are the 3 of you just moving as quickly as you can?
Moving as quickly as I can, absolutely. I am broken. I am beat. My knight is looking all sorts of fucked up. I don't want to be here at all. My instinct was to flee, and it is, again, I don't want to die.
Yes.
And
speed, not stealth.
I'm not going to make you make an athletics check or a stealth check, but because Anuria and Sir Riordan in particular have taken such a beating in their night-long battle with the undead, I do want you both to make me a Constitution saving throw to see if you can keep up your speed and energy as exhausted as you are. And I just saw that we got from Lex 3 boons, 1 for each of you. That will come into play next episode. As always, I love to take the time to make boons unique to the characters between the episodes and design something special. So thank you for that.
That is a 10 in total.
Because of your +1 spellbook.
Mm-hmm.
So as you're rushing down this hill, Sir Riordan, you're carrying Lilly. Averin's moving a little faster, a little ahead of you, even though she's burning. It's Anuria who stumbles, and Riordan, you can see her fall to her knees. And now, Anuria has a staff now. That's new, correct?
Yes, I forgot about that.
What's the staff look like?
That is an excellent question. I can't remember, to tell you the truth, because
we haven't described it. We don't have to describe it right now. I'm just curious because I love the idea of Anuria with a staff. I feel like that's next.
If you wanted to know what it would look like in my mind,
yes,
it would be Vanta Black. Absolutely, it would be very, very thin, probably about that big around. It would stand just slightly shorter than her head itself, and the top of it would have kind of a twisting spider web around it, and inside a pale, kind of like opulent stone, not glowing, not vibrating. It would look quite plain until you got very close to it, and you would realize that nothing reflects off of it. It just is there, consuming all the light and joy around it.
So as you collapse, it's only the staff that you're able to hold yourself up by at all. The staff falls from your hand, Anuria, and into the dirt in front of you. You can hear now the pounding of hooves on broken stone as that forward company of knights seems to be reaching the bottom of the hill on the other side. You can actually hear them now.
Salvation, Knight? You're kind.
No. We must leave. We must head north.
I agree. The serpent, do I still have it?
You have the black stone.
Elang. I cast fly on all of us. Time to go.
So much for being stealthy. To the skies!
You don't need to be stealthy if you're fucking fast. You can still use fly for the 60 feet of movement.
So, and this isn't the first time that you've all flown with the aid of Anuria, correct? Maybe it's the first for Oberyn.
Oberyn had no idea what's going on.
I am not flying high off the ground, just to let you know. No fly damage. This is strictly for speed.
So, Oberyn and Sir Riordan, you feel the strangeness of being weightless for a moment as your feet kind of lift up off the ground, and now you are floating too. You do inherently find that you can will yourself to move in one direction or another, but it's an awkward sensation, especially if you've never flown before, which most people haven't.
Don, not only has Sir Riordan flown, he has performed a fastball special with a bull. So
I recall.
I am a natural. Taking it like a duck to water.
So it's just Oberyn then that I need an acrobatics check from to see how well she manages.
Cool, let's just use another inspiration for that.
24 will do it. So describe to me, Oberyn, getting used to flying for the first time. What's this like for her? She is this poor girl. She's going through a lot.
She at first not sure what to do. She is suddenly, there is no surface to go off of. She almost everything she does is like going off of different surfaces, and now there is no solid surface. But as she's kind of just like, she kind of curls the cloak around her closer, and she just tries to find that almost that surface balance, right? That spot where she can kind of level herself out and not panic.
Does she enjoy flying?
I think there's too much on her mind to really think about whether she's enjoying it right now.
So the lot of you and Lilly by proxy fly forward fast towards the southern end of this hill, or the northern end of this hill where the stables are. You do see now the knights, as you look back behind you, have reached the compound. They're dismounting their horses. None of them seem to be pointing at you or giving an indication that they see you there at the bottom of the hill. They seem to be more focused on checking out the hospital itself. They're approaching those open front doors slowly, curiously, as you all reach the stable. Now, as you get there, we're going to make it worse, it looks like. So as you get there, you notice that the front doors of the stable are broken. Those wooden, almost barn-like doors have been shattered and splintered. You can see within the carriage house what looks like a large stain of blood on the ground near those doors. Oberyn, make me one more Constitution saving throw.
I'm going to use an inspiration for any Constitution saving
throw
until I run out of them. We're just going to say that. 18.
So with the cloak and the 18, with Riordan's cloak and the 18, this time you're able to keep yourself tightly wound up. You're like a flying ball of cloth at the moment. And are you flying into the carriage house, into the stables?
She's going to do her regular rogue thing where she's going to wait and look in before she decides to just go straight in.
Okay, roll me a perception check and tell me, Riordan and Anuria, what are you doing as you fly towards the stables, the carriage house?
keeping an eye to see if anyone's following us.
Exactly.
Roll me a perception check, each of you.
19.
22.
Anuria and Suriorden, as you kind of look behind you, you see that those knights are actually weapons drawn, moving into Solinari's Light Hospital. They're actually moving into the compound. They don't seem to have noticed you. None of them have at least pointed towards you. None of them are moving towards you at the moment. Riordan with a 22, I'll add that you can hear the cries of what sounds like men, and again, this sounds like men crying out their death cries from the direction of the town. And as you're flying, you can see a little bit of the shantytown, the poor area of Harthalen, and you can see men and women being dragged out, several of them, of their homes by these knights and thrown into the middle of the street.
They're being executed?
You haven't seen anyone be executed, but it definitely looks like they're being gathered and lined up forcefully.
He stops.
Avrin, you don't see anything inside the stables. It's quiet in there. And you hear the whinny of a horse. That's it.
Yeah, she's going to duck in and see what she can do with the horses.
All right. Riordan, what are you doing?
Watching.
Anuria, do you go inside with Avrin, or do you stay outside with Riordan?
I'm going inside with Averin. I have a desperate, haunting need to find out what this stone does. Knight, now is not the time to be a hero. No, take off.
He doesn't listen.
Of course he doesn't.
So we'll get to Riordan here in a moment. Avrin and Anuria, as you fly into the stable, you can see that there's more broken, splintered wood. Some of the gates for the horses have been broken, and if there were horses in there, they're gone now. There are still some horses there. They all seem very anxious, especially when you enter. There's a burst of sound, and they kind of jump up, and one of them rocks towards the gate that's blocking it in, and almost knocks the gate off of its hinge. You see more bloodstains inside, and then they stop. It's quiet here. There are a dozen horses just in this building, plus more outside. You also see 2 carriages that seem to be completely intact, nothing broken about them. They're not currently hitched to any horses, but they're large enough to carry maybe 4 individuals plus a rider and somebody sitting up front with the rider.
This could be a blessing.
We have to be careful. Don't like the look of that. See, it indicates the bloodstains.
This whole place has gone. I need you to do something for me, Averin. I'm going to be using a part of my magic that I don't use very often. It will consume my mind for a time. A long time. If there's danger approaching, I need you to snap me out of it.
Okay.
And Anuria will take her dagger out from her wrist and slit along her hand and begin quietly chanting, Balagan, Balagan, Balagan. And she's going to make a large circle around her with the drops of her blood. Almost a dangerous amount before she reaches into her wizard robes and pulls out a black sand and throws it over top of the circle, and it begins to bubble and royal together, and she places the black stone in the center, and that's when she becomes totally lost as she ritually casts Identify and tries to figure out what this is.
So, how long does Identify take? Is it a minute?
It's 10 minutes.
Okay.
That's why I was asking her to
keep an eye on you. So you begin this ritual. Avrin, are you watching her? What are you doing here?
I think Avrin is going to be as close to the circle as she can without messing up the stands. But she is keeping an eye out. And kind of, I think she's doing like a circuit around and just looking.
Roll me a perception check.
Okay.
Avrin, you see 1, and then 2, and then 3 shapes come out of the shadows, having pressed themselves in the corners. You see their lips peel back, these what used to be humans, and you see their fangs. They all look very similar, though their clothes are different. In fact, as you look between the 3 as they are coming at you from all sides, and Anuria from all sides, it's almost like triplets, identical triplets. These 3 young adult men, now creatures of the night just like you are. And they are creeping towards you with a hungry look in their eyes. Meanwhile, outside, Sir Riordan, what are you watching?
Sir Riordan's watching to make sure that there isn't a mass execution going on.
You watch as more and more people are dragged out, and it's not that many, but about 8 in total that you can see in the slum area. And there's a number of knights surrounding them. One of them, whose armor is slightly shinier, whiter, almost ivory in hue, stands before them, and you can hear some sort of order or question being barked out. He asks one person in the line. The person is an old man who's shaking, not quite making eye contact with the knight, and he mumbles something in reply. Roll me a perception check.
$19.
The knight steps away from the man into the next person in the line, a middle-aged woman, and barks out what sounds like the same question. And again, she answers this one quickly, reply, and he steps to the next person down the line. And it's the 3rd time you hear him say it that you can make out a little bit of what he seems to be asking. You hear the word clearly, Politskera, which is what you recall to be the name of the law enforcement here in the town, some of whom are openly law enforcement and some of whom are sort of secret enforcers of the law. And it's the 3rd person in this line of people who've been dragged out and forced down onto their knees, who is a very strong, strapping-looking young man with blonde hair, who turns his chin up to the knight, and he says something back. You're not sure what. It's not loud, but it is proud. You can see the pride just in his posture and the way he holds himself. And the knight this time draws his sword and raises it over his head as though he's preparing to strike. This is several hundred yards away from you.
Riordan would scream, "Hold!"
Roll me a perception check.
Natural 20.
There's no hesitation from the knight. He brings the blade down, and the young man's head rolls, falls into a pile of ash and wood. The knight wipes his blade off on some sort of cloth that's hanging from his belt, takes another step to the next person in line, and again calls out the same word. However, with a 20, you happen to notice out of the corner of your eye now, up the hill, the compound, a pair of knights that are not inside Solinari's Light Hospital have now looked down, and they see you, and you see them.
He will raise his chin and not break their gaze.
One of them turns and calls back something over his shoulder. The other one draws his weapon. They stand there for a moment. They don't seem to be advancing. Does Sir Riordan move?
No.
Avrin, what are you doing?
Yeah. There seems like trouble. And so she's immediately, like, again, she was really close to Anuria. And so she just kind of puts an arm out and is just, like, patting her, like, tapping her, just being like, hey. And she's not letting her eyes leave these three and knowing where they are.
Does Anuria break from her ritual?
She would, because she has traveled with Avrin long enough to trust in her judgment of when is an appropriate time to break her magic. So she immediately pulls out of almost this other world and glances her eyes to these three figures. Shirak. She taps her staff, causing the light to go up to the very top, and she kind of tilts it towards them, seeing if it will get them to back off.
It does not. They hold back for a second. One of them even covers their face, maybe expecting themselves to burn. It is dark in here, and there is no sunlight here. Even the torches and lanterns have been snuffed out. The only light is the light from outside that spills in through the open door. But after just a moment, they instead begin to break into a full sprint towards the two of you on all sides. And I need everyone to go ahead and roll me initiative. Sir Riordan, you might as well too, just in case.
I might as well not.
So Anuria, you will go first. So you see them begin to rush towards you, only held back for a second by your light, but long enough that you can do something here.
Avrin, I love you so much. I just want you to know that. I still have fly up if it hasn't been the full 10 minutes. I want to use my action to disengage and go out the window or door that I came through.
You're going to fly past them. So you will, there's one of them that'll get to take a swipe at you.
Okay. Oh, they came in through the doors behind us and they're coming at us that way?
They were in the corners of the room, so they're coming in from all sides, yeah.
Okay.
So one of them is between you and the door.
Well, I guess I'm not going to leave you here to die.
You might want to leave.
I'm still thinking about it. Don't worry. Men Callahan. And I cast Mirror Image.
All right.
And they're coming from all sides. Is there an up? Is this
So yeah, imagine that the building has a higher ceiling in the center, so you could fly straight up.
Yep. I will cast my mirror image and I will go straight up and try to get onto like a support beam so that if I do fall, I can stay up here. And I will shout out, Riordan! Knight!
As you fly up into the air, it's Averin's turn.
Cool. How close are they to me?
None of them are further than 15 feet.
Okay. I'm watching Anuria fly up towards the ceiling. Averin can do things now, and so she's going to just start. Basically, she's going to run half her movement up the wall, and then use that momentum to launch herself, and try to attack one of these creatures.
So you're sprinting up the wall with some sort of like supernatural wall climbing ability, and then like I imagine, what are you doing? Like a backflip off of the wall? How are you doing this?
Kind of, yeah.
Awesome, I love it. Roll me an acrobatics check.
Cool. $16.
I won't give you advantage on your attack with this because it's pretty cool. And because your acrobatics check was good. So you do exactly what you intend to do. This is probably the first time you've ever used this ability. You're just still kind of getting used to your new body, your new you. They all three look the same. Like I said, they look like triplets. Which one are you attacking? There's two that are towards the stables in the back, and there's one that's towards the door that you entered from.
Probably the one by the door.
All right, go for it.
Cool. 23 or 28 actually, with advantage.
That is a hit.
Cool. 8 points of damage. Yeah, and
and you get sneak attack bonus for that too.
yes, I do. Sneak attack. Bonus 11.
All right, so you flip off this wall and come down right on top of this creature's head, and you hear the tonfa crack against the side of this thing's skull. Its eye is like turned partially sideways. Part of its face is caved in from the force of your blow, but it is still pushing back up to its feet and hissing at you.
Cool. I'm gonna disengage and back up the remaining 50 feet I have, kind of towards the door. See if I can pull it towards me and out.
Yeah, we'll say you got 10 feet left of your movement, so you are like 5 feet away from the door, and you can see where the sunlight from outside, the morning light, is spilling in through the door. You're almost back up against that light.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm going to stay right at that edge.
And the creature is turning towards you. But before we get to the creature, we move outside to Sir Riordan, who hears Averin's call from over his shoulder, even as half a dozen knights appear at the top of the hill, and all of them draw their weapons and begin to descend down the hill.
As soon as he would hear the call from both, because I had a 22 or natural 20 perception right before the calls, right? So would he have heard both Anuria and Averin?
Yeah, I would say so with a nat 20. Absolutely.
Okay, he's going to run in and just absolutely like kick open the door.
Yeah, it's actually already been shattered inwards. So like you actually like climb over the door to get inside, like stomp over top of it.
What am I looking at?
You see 3 of these vampires, the same things you've been fighting all night, One of them's head is partially caved in and it's coming towards Averin. You're actually side by side now, inside with Averin. Anuria is up at the top of the roof, out of range, it seems, for the moment. There are two more creatures rushing towards you from the back of this stable, from the back of this area.
All right, let's do this. He's going to take the first attack on the creature in front of him with, I'm going to use Great Weapon Master.
All right.
And hope that I can roll decently here. 27.
27's a hit.
Okay.
Strong 27.
Let's see. That'll be a 16 plus 10 is 26.
Yeah, so what's this swing like as he's running in?
Surgical. He walks in and literally kills the creature, engages Averin in the eyes, and doesn't look at the creature as he kills it. They're coming. He's talking about the knights. He could care less about these things. Yeah.
Yeah. She's just like, okay, we have horses. One of us can deal with the horses. One of us can just keep these things engaged in a way. We're in the sunlight.
I've got them. My 6 seconds are up. And he turns and he's going to do his second attack at the one that's coming in closest to him to try to hit again. And Dawn, because I killed a creature and I also have Great Weapon Master, it means I can attack with my bonus action. Another melee attack. So I would like to use that again, Great Weapon Master, on the next one coming in. And I'm going to roll with advantage on this one. 15?
15 is a hit.
23.
So you slice into it even as it launches off the ground, its feet in the air. It's almost like it's flying for a moment, coming towards you, and you knock it out of the air. It rolls several times, having lost its left arm above the elbow, but it still rises and continues to scramble towards you again, and the other one's coming too.
Okay, with his final attack, then, he is going to attack. Can I still get the one I just baseball batted out of the air? Can I get another one on it?
Sure, yeah.
Finnegan, begin again. I'll use another advantage.
All right.
19 hits.
That is
12. There's a reroll in there. Hold on. So that takes it from a 12 to a 16, 26 on that one.
All right. Now, is that a 19 or is that a 14 because of Great Weapon?
Oh my gosh. You know what? The other one wouldn't have hit then anyway. I forgot to take the -5 off of it, brother.
So this one will still hit. So we'll say your second attack knocks him out of the air then.
Okay.
Around twice.
Sorry
so
about
yeah,
that.
so a 14 is still enough to hit, but an 11 it doesn't.
Well, I tell you what I'll do. I'll tell you what I do to make that even. I am going to spend 3 inspiration to get a second bevy of attacks. Okay.
All right.
I want to clear this place so everyone can get out. So that'll give me 2 additional attacks. Correct?
Yes, it does. Yeah, absolutely.
And that's just action. It's not bonus action. So if I do crit or kill again, it doesn't. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
All right. So let's do this the right way. Great Weapon Master in at the one that I've injured. So that would be 19.
So that's a hit. Yeah.
Okay. And I think I'm out of advantages now. I should be.
You have 2.
I have 2. Oh, good. I have 2 left. Okay, so 12, that's 22 on the one I've already injured.
So that one, even as it gets back up, one arm already gone, reaching you with the other arm, you cut through it again, and you see its face begin to peel away as its skin rips back from the bone, and then everything turns to a cloud of ash. And then it's at that point that the third one's almost on top of you.
Okay, so he is going to take his last attack of this bevy that he's been given him, and he is going to again attack with advantage, Great Weapon Master, on the final one.
All right.
Natural 20.
Yep, that'll be a hit.
And that's a 19. And do I double the plus 10 for Great Weapon Master? No. That's not dice,
No.
right? That's
Yeah.
Okay, so that is 29 on the one that just ran in.
So it leaps towards you just like the other one just a moment later, and you thrust your blade. It impales the creature through its sternum. You hear its spine snap against the back of your blade, but it still reaches you.
He'll do 28 damage with Absolution, and as this thing gets close to him, he just headbutts it for the last point of damage.
For the last one.
Yeah.
You smash your coif into this creature's face, even as it just slams its fist down into your chest for a 23, which will hit, I believe, right?
It will, yeah.
It's for 22 bludgeon damage. This thing crashes down into you. And make me an athletics, or maybe a strength saving throw.
Strength save. 13.
So as this thing crashes its fist down onto your armor, even though you've impaled it, it knocks you to the ground, and now it's on top of you, and its hand is reaching towards, like up the side of your face. You can feel its fingernails as it's getting towards your temple. That is the end of its turn, however, and we are back up to the top of the order with Anuria.
I am going to do something I have not done in a long, long time. I am going to reach onto my hip, and I am going to pull out my crossbow, and I am going to load it up, and I am going to fire down at whatever is remaining down there. And I'm going to spend a point of inspiration to do so, because Anuria is not really that familiar with weapons that are not of the mind.
Okay.
Does a 20 hit?
It does. And this is the creature that's on top of Sir Riordan.
That's a big whopping 3 damage.
It pierces it, and whether or not you were aiming for its heart or not, it hits it right where its dead, unbeating heart lie. And as it does, Sir Riordan, you feel your mouth fill up with ash and dust as this creature explodes over top of you.
Nice shot. And he begins to pull himself up.
Does it have an intelligence score of 8 or higher?
Yes. It is undead, though. So what are you trying to do here?
I'm just looking at some options. See what my options are. Anuria seems shocked that, and like looks at the crossbow for a split second, like reappraising the value of physical weapons for a moment, and she reaches out with her bonus action, the Sorceress Mastermind, and with once again giving that light of Paladine into Riordan to give him Anuria's help. There we go. You gain.
What do you want to help? What are you helping him with?
If he needs to make like a acrobatics check to get away, or just is, if he needs to get out, I want to be able to help him with that.
Understood.
Riordan would never say this, so Greg will say this. If asked how he's feeling out of 100, Riordan would say 2.
It's very specific.
Did you? Oh no, wait! It's only I have to make the concentration check to keep my friends in flight, right? They don't have to worry about that because he's still got 60 feet of movement. Then technically, if he wants it.
That's right. Yeah. You're all still able to fly if you so desire. And right now, that was the end of the Anuria's turn. Is she doing anything else on her turn, or is she staying up in the air?
So the roof is raised. There is no skylight, no smoke escape. Like the only way out is through that door.
I mean, it's not a particularly well built building. You could make a hole if you wanted to, but I will say now all 3 of the creatures have just been wiped out. At least the 3 that you can see.
Okay, I will come back down then. presuming dumbly that danger is gone. Oh, no, wait, no, we got the knights coming. It's time to leave.
Horses or fly? Which one?
My flight will expire. The horses will get us farther, faster.
Yeah. So Avrin's gonna like nod, like pick up the cloak that probably had like fallen off his shoulders when she did her back flip, because a very big cloak on her, and she just kind of rushes over to the horses.
So you can all hear now cries from outside, sound like the shouting of orders. If you were to look out, is anybody looking to see if anybody, like how long you guys have?
I think we're just trying to... go ahead.
I was just going to say, Dawn, is this like a traditional barn with a door in and a door out, like a south and north facing? Yeah, we're going out the one opposite of where the knights are coming from.
So what are we trying to do with the horses? Are we taking, are we just trying to get 3 horses free? Are we trying to hitch anything to the carriage? What's our plan of escape here?
I'm just trying to get on a horse and I'm trying to set the barn on fire as we're leaving.
I have an idea.
As you're setting the barn on fire?
No. I approve of barn.
Okay.
I'm not sure what the movement speed of fully galloping horses would happen to be, but if a knight was flying in front of them, holding their reins, could I fly and pull the horses at top speed just so we can go?
Just to like get them started?
Yeah, like just to get us started, to get out, to run, to flee fast on.
So 3 individual horses out the back door of the stables. That's the goal, right?
Mm-hmm.
I will need Sir Riordan to make me an athletics check and everybody to make me an animal handling check.
Using a point of inspiration?
Yep, same.
19.
12. No, 19.
19. I was like the other side.
Yeah.
That one.
All right.
Dawn, do I have a inspiration left?
Yeah, you do. You have 2.
I'll take 1 right here for this one. 17. Come along, beasties.
All right. So this goes a lot better for everyone, especially Anuria, who had a bad run-in with a horse previous in our campaign. This time, this one doesn't kick you in the face. This time, you all are able to, with the help of Riordan, pulling these horses, getting them moving. And even as you hear the sounds of other horses running behind to the other side of the stables, you're able to get back on the back of these horses. You're able to get saddled in, and they obey you. They move. You're able to ride them off in the direction, and you spring through this back door of the stables. I need Averin to make me a Constitution saving throw.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
11 radiant damage as the wind of the speed that you're moving blows the hood off of your face, and for a moment your entire face is exposed to the sun as you leave the stables behind. And you can feel again the peeling and the burning. It's the smell of your own flesh frying in the sun before you are able to pull the hood back up over your face. How's Averin doing?
Still going. Probably see her hand like withdraw as quickly as possible, but it's blackened. And again, she's trying really hard not to scream out in pain.
As you all explode through the back of the stables, you see that the road stretches on. In fact, this is almost, this is another way in and out of town, but this road is winding and seems to stretch up into the foothills of the southern edge of the Dargard Mountains. Riordan, you would recognize this area because Harthalen, in your timeline, in your world, was Throttle. It's the same place, the same town, it's just different here. So you recognize the geography very clearly and this road very clearly, and you know that this road leads up into the foothills of the Dargard Mountains. Do you follow the road as you begin to ride away from the stables? What is the plan here?
I have a quick question because on his horse, Riordan has Lilly, but I know that I'm not sure. I'm not trying to convince you of this. I just don't know. Where is Albin's cart? Wasn't it towards the? Didn't he make like he? Okay, where was
It was back towards the tavern is where he had parked his cart outside of the tavern. So that is west of you. You would have to go back towards the center of town, basically.
Well, Don, let me ask you a question. Albin and I have a pretty good relationship. And while I know that's the last place I saw it, Riordan's going to look around and see if it's somehow out around here. And I will spend my remaining 2 inspiration if it means I can see it.
Yes, I don't know where you're going with this, but we will say for some weird reason, as you explode from the back of the stables and you're beginning to go up what starts up this road, to the west of you is the forest that you came from, the dark woods, but to the north of you, the mountains. There on the side of the road is Albin's merchant's cart. And the last time you saw Albin Shortlock Hammerfist, he was standing atop a pile of debris being surrounded by dozens of these undead creatures. You saw him take his walking stick, slam it into the ground, and there was an explosion of light. And then he was gone, but so were the creatures surrounding him. Now his cart is on the side of the road.
Riordan will yell to Averin, "Stop!" And as he swings off his horse and jumps down and begins to hitch it to the cart itself, he is going to touch the wood for the briefest of moments and simply mutter, "Next time, friend. Until next time." And he goes to the back and opens up the cart, throws Lilly in, and indicates for Averin to get in, out of the sun.
Yep, okay. Just nod and just thank you. I'm just going to get into the cart.
Would I recognize this cart by any chance? Yeah.
It's the one that Albin always like carries along with him anywhere he goes. It has all of his wares. I think you stole a book from the back of this cart once.
Yep. Where's Albin? Anuria never saw that. Albin!
And with every bit of honesty inherent in the oath, the measure, and Sir Riordan, he looks at Anuria and says, "Don't worry, he'll be along." Because he fully believes that is the case. And then he's gonna get behind the cart with Averin's horse, his horse, and basically Ben-Hur this thing.
All right. Is Anuria riding on her own horse, or is she getting in the back of the cart with Averin and Lilly?
I'll be riding on the back of my own horse.
Okay. Averin, as you get thrown in the back of this cart, that's still full of all of his wares, the most prominent of which is a suit of leather armor with several jewels set into the leather. And Riordan, you hitch the cart up to the horse, you start getting it moving. I need you now to make me, both Anuria and Riordan, one more animal handling check. And I'm going to give disadvantage. What?
I'm going to use a point of inspiration. If that just levels up the playing field, then I'm okay with that. Strong 12.
Do I have anything left on? I think I spent everything.
Your last 2 for the cart, dude.
Okay, I was just checking.
This is just a flat roll for you.
Oh, okay.
An 8.
Well, I rolled pretty bad. You hear now, as you get going, you're starting to pick up speed. Are you traveling towards the woods, or are you following the road up into the mountains, up into the foothills?
Dawn, since Riordan knows this path, the road goes on a northerly route, does it not?
It does.
The road it is.
You see behind you as you get moving, finally picking up enough speed to pull this cart along at a healthy pace. The knights explode on the back of their horses, a dozen of them behind you, following up the road. They are a ways away. They are moving a little bit faster than you, but you've got a big head start on them at this point. You have to choose now. Are you going to try to outrun them?
He would look over at Anuria. Wizard?
Saya Peru Bahan. And I will use minor eyes of time, and I will try to look into the possible futures. What is the best outcome for us? Do we do one or the other?
Sir Rior, describe Anuria. What does Anuria look like when she casts this spell? Does anything change about her physically or anything?
The only thing that really changes about her, because this is one of her lower level spells, and at the time it was something that she took a lot of pride in because it was new and different magic, and her eyes would glow and become this golden hourglass, and a slight sheen of gold would cover her skin. But now, as she's pale from loss of blood and beaten, that shimmer is almost like a static through her body, and her eyes blink in and out of being gold. It's almost like the hourglasses in her eyes don't have any sand, and she tries to hold on to her magic. She feels different after going into that cold dark. She's doubting herself, her power.
As you cast this spell, Riordan, if you were to glance aside as she's speaking her magic words, you would see those subtle changes in her. Anuria, you see, as you've seen before, the next 6 seconds, what all the possible futures hold. It is overwhelming, to say the least. And of course, in many of the next 6 seconds, it's just the same. You and Riordan continuing to ride along the road, the knights getting closer and closer and closer. You see them draw short bows or crossbows and fire them at you as they pursue. In some of the futures, you see possibilities for you to slow them down. And in those futures, it seems to deter them from continuing to give chase.
Is there any rope in the back of Albin's cart?
Yeah, absolutely.
Could I fly ahead and just set up like the shittiest fucking tripwire that you've ever seen, or fly behind, I guess, and set up like the horses will probably be able to jump over it, or maybe like make it like chest level so it'll be difficult and slow them down a little bit, but just something.
I love this idea. Okay, so you're riding horseback and then you fly off of your horse into the back of the cart where Averin is, and you just like, give me rope.
So yeah, so Ava will just like pull off rope. She also has her own too, so it's just like rope.
It's the only fucking character I've ever made that doesn't have rope on her person. I've seen Boondock Saints. I know how this is supposed to go. But yeah, I will try to like whip around a couple of trees, and after that, I will fly up to Riordan and explain to him the different futures I've seen since he called out my name.
Anuria, roll me an athletics check.
I'm spending a point of inspiration on that.
Okay.
Because I have a negative. No! Oh!
Sir Riordan,
I've seen so many. Just flying and crashes.
She whips around with a rope. She whips around the first tree, the second tree, and on your second go around, Anuria, the rope. You weren't sure exactly how to tie it taut. It rips free from your original tie, and the jerking motion of it causes you to slam head first into the trunk of this massive tree that you're trying to tie it around. You will take 11 bludgeon damage. Make me that Constitution saving throw to see if you can maintain your fly spell.
I'm gonna use a point of inspiration. That's a 19.
So, I mean, you crack your face right on the side of this tree, and the horses continue to go on. Riordan, are you slowing down, or are you continuing to go?
Can Riordan figure out that they're going to get caught? I mean, he got she basically said, "Hey, there's a chance we're going to get caught. There's a chance I can do something." If he can aid at all, he is going to take maybe one of the Avrin's horse and send it running down the trail to keep it like dust flying, and take the cart off road. This is a great idea. It's
absolutely. So make me an animal handling check. Is Avrin? Are you just hiding? Are you staying?
Yeah, but she had brought out her bow and arrow, and she's kind of setting herself up so that she's still out of the light, but she can see what's going on.
These knights coming up behind. And Anuria, after you kind of are like, you managed to hold your fly spell, but as you're kind of coming out of this daze, what is her plan now? Is she going to continue? Is she going to try to do this again?
Fuck no. Anuria has gone into full literal fight or flight mode, and every one of her survival instincts kicks in again. And there is a tree line, but instead of shooting straight up, she's going to try to go up out in an arc so she can still use the cover of the trees. And she's still going to follow along the road because she knows that's where her companions are going. But she is probably going to be Icarus on this one and get as close to the sun as she can. Use the sun as blinding for people that might attack her, close her own eyes, and almost fly blindly.
You shoot straight up into the sky, and it's at this point, as Riordan, you're struggling to get the horses to kind of do what you want. You're trying to do a lot of different things at once, that the 6 knights in the front of these 12 riding knights draw crossbows, some of them short bows, and they volley off around, even as their horses slow down just enough that they can kind of aim as close as they need to. They will have disadvantage on this, but 6 of them are going to shoot. Only one of them is going to shoot at Anuria as she's flying up in the air. How about a 13? So no. It goes right under your foot as you're shooting straight up into the air. One of them will see Avrin peeking out, readying her bow, and they'll actually try to shoot into the back of the cart at Avrin. But I'm guessing a 9 is a miss.
That's a miss.
All right, and 4 of them are going to just volley in general. 2 of them will aim towards Riordan, and 2 of them might hit a horse. So let's see. First one, Riordan. Second one, Riordan. Both of those miss. Horse. So they're still they're a little too far out of range. They're not quite able to land any of their shots. And so Riordan, you have just managed to get the spare horse to turn around, and you whip it so that it starts riding back in the general direction of these chasing knights. You're struggling to get the horse and the cart off-road. The cart's wheel gets stuck on a rather large rock. You find yourself for a moment stalled.
Okay, he's gonna bang on the back of the cart. This was a fun idea, but fly! And he's gonna go around to the back and pull out Lilly, and if the fly spell is still active, he's gonna fly and try to hit above the tree line as quickly as is humanly possible.
That's a good question. It's 10 minutes, so up to 10 minutes.
Yeah, it hasn't been 10 minutes yet, but it almost has.
He's not going to go super high off the ground. He's just getting to the tree line and zipping into the forest. There's nothing else to do here. We're gonna run down.
All right. Give me an athletics check. You're carrying both. Are you carrying? No, Averin's flying on her own accord. He's just Lilly.
20, dirty.
You're able to grab Lilly and fly off into the woods. Anuria is up in the air. When you see Sir Riordan leave the horses behind and fly into the forest, do you follow down into the forest, or do you have other plans, Anuria?
I'll follow into the forest.
Okay. So you begin to shoot downward and descend into the tree line through the canopy. Averin, what are you doing?
I'm going to grab that leather armor and then book it out of there.
You say you're grabbing the leather armor?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Give me... No, I won't make you give me an athletics check. You don't need to do that. You grab the leather
heavy
armor.
Dawn.
Get it off of your the stand, and you fly into the woods. However, because you took the time to get the armor, I will give these guys, 2 of them, a shot at you. They're still at disadvantage range.
Okay.
$13.
Nope.
So again, they just come up short as you explode through the tree line and into the forest. And if you get through this tree line, you don't hear, after a moment of flying further into the woods, any of you, the sounds of pursuit, the sounds of hooves. You're not sure if they're following or not, but it certainly doesn't sound like they're following. What you do hear is a sort of stillness, a calmness to the woods. There's insects, but not many. It's much quieter than most forests, just like the last time you were in here. You remember these woods because this is where Lilly and Averin were attacked by a swarm of monstrous undead Kender. As you all go further into the woods, even though the morning light is in the sky, the light fades quickly enough here. It's almost like it doesn't break through the canopy even when it should. You found yourselves together again.
I never want to see another horse for as long as I live.
I don't think they want to see you either.
Rest.
Not here.
Not here.
Where, then? Anuria says, touching down to the dirt softly. Sometimes you've got to take what you can get.
Averin is looking around, and you'll notice that even though she's pushing the hood back so you can see her face, like her knuckles are, although her skin's very pale now, white as she's clutching the edge of her cloak. This is not a good place.
I don't think anywhere here is a good place. We've gone from towering mountain golems to creatures to, she almost says vampires, but kind of holds it back. But you can see the word forming on her face as she looks over her shoulder to this. I think the abyss might be a lovely place to retreat afterwards. Do we move on then?
If we can skirt the road, stay just far enough in the forest to avoid detection, it's the only way to continue. The forest wasn't like this when we were further up by the crossroads. Wasn't as sinister.
All right. And I will try to pick a path of cover and begin walking.
So you're all moving together through the forest. Everyone can roll me a perception check. Or Arcana check, if you prefer Arcana.
I do not. Strong. Lucky 7.
20.
Avrin, the sounds of insects and birds, light at first, the further you go into the woods becomes entirely absent. It's almost like there's nothing here except for the sounds of your own feet breaking through twigs and leaves. You feel something in the pit of your stomach, an unsettling feeling. As you recall this exact same absence of sound being the precursor to those creatures before. Anuria, you sense with a 20 Arcana, there is a powerful enchantment on these woods here. The trees, the area, everything is not exactly what it seems, and that there is a heart. That's the best way that you can describe it. Your instinct says that there's a heart of this forest, and in that heart, a very powerful evil magic that is infecting all of the woodlands around it. With an Arcana check of 20, you feel like you might be able to navigate around this heart, but it's almost like it's trying to draw you to it like a trap for flies.
I curl my hand around my staff, looking for a white stag for just a moment, and say to my friends, "Follow me through this darkness. Trust not your instincts. This place is like a home to me."
Right.
Take us through, wizard.
And I will keep as far away from this heart as I can.
Are you just moving as quickly as you can, or are you all trying to be as quiet as you can?
Stealth is my priority, without a doubt, as long as we stay away from the heart.
All of you can make me a stealth check, and Anuria, I will let you make me an Arcana check to continue to guide the way.
All right, I am going to use inspiration on my Arcana check.
Okay.
20.
Lucky 13 stealth check for Sir Riordan.
So even with a pretty low stealth check for Anuria, That 20 Arcana check, you feel that there's a trickery here. Some of the paths,
I
there are
actually
many
get
paths.
15 with that because of my stealthy feat. I double any proficiency checks that. So I actually get a bonus of 12, so it's a total of 15.
All right. So in that case, scratch what I said. You see before you, you're at something like a crossroads, but it's not a real crossroads. You're at a center point where 8 different little paths, they look like walking trails, branch out like squiggly arms, like squid-like arms in either direction. In the center of where you look down, Anuria, you see something carved into the dirt, into the sand. It looks like an arcane symbol. You believe that this symbol is metaphorical, it's magical, it's connected to the ley lines that control magic here, that you could possibly basically turn it off and see the true path with if you have dispel magic or any kind of spell like that. Do you have anything that with that sort of effect?
I have counter spell, but since I am navigating this quite freely, and because of how dangerously low we all are, I want to save that for a much more important moment than this. And I look at it with a type of anger and frustration, and once again that seeping fear and doubt in myself, as this is what I have trained myself to do. And in a moment where I could change my fate, change the way time affects me, I stand here helpless before this, and petulantly I try to draw a line through it with the butt end of my staff, but probably to no avail.
You draw a line through it as though you're crossing it off, but when you pull your staff away, the same marking is in the dirt as before. You look now, the direction, all 8 paths seem perhaps identical. You can make me a perception check.
I'm going to use my last inspiration on this.
You have 3 more after this.
Oh, thank goodness. That is a 9 in total.
You feel that anxiety creep up in you. There's no difference between any of these paths. And even though you know that you're being manipulated, that there's an enchantment here that is trying to draw you into the center of these woods, at the moment, you don't have a solution.
You've brought me here for this. For this! I scream out in frustration. Not quite scream, but perhaps internal scream. To Nuatari, to Raceland, to all of the gods of magic, to Paladine. You taunt me. And Anuria will begin just raking at her hair, walking around the circle, and she loses sight of her friends, of everything, as she spends more time trying to figure this out on her own.
What are Auburn and Riordan doing as they watch her do this?
Well, Riordan's eyes are going to be going from the wizard that is revealing being brought here by somebody, and to the vampire, to the wizard, to the vampire, to the sky, to his sword. He says nothing. It is beneath him.
Avrin, watching Anuria for a bit, and just is going to give her some space for a second before she just looks over to Riordan. I didn't get to say before, but thank you. And I'm sorry.
You are welcome. No apology necessary.
Albin gives him a look like, uh-huh.
Anuria is going to break mentally and is going to try casting counterspell on this, and she hates it. She hates giving up one of her last defenses, and she just stands over the circle, spending as long as she can gathering her magical energies, and begins to cast and she pushes the energy into the ground, probably causing like a soft ripple in the dirt. And I'm going to cast Counterspell at level 4.
Roll me an Arcana check.
I am going to use Inspiration. That's a 23.
Your fingers touch the dirt and you feel your magic press into the earth. For a second, just for a second, light trickles down from the canopy above, piercing the illusion of the woods, and then it is snuffed again, and you feel your spell fizzle out. And despite that and your exhaustion, when you look up, there are 8 paths in every direction around you. At the end of one of the paths, Anuria, you see a white stag standing there in the middle of the path, sort of peering at you.
I tilt my head and I reach out towards Riordan, even if he's too far away. Look, friend. Do you see it?
Does he?
He sees nothing but the path.
I have found the way. And I begin walking without even looking to see his reaction.
When Riordan stepped forward and she indicated, "Do you see it?" his eyes never left her face as he gazed at her profile and at her own eyes.
I see it. Lead on, wizard.
You move down the path, and once you get about a third the distance to the stag, it turns and begins to move too. It moves quickly. You lose it, but when you get to a turn in the path, you see it there again at the end of another stretch. And every time there's other breaks in the road where other trails lead off into different directions, the stag is always there along one of the paths. Anuria, do you follow it the entire time?
Yes.
All of you, as you continue to follow Anuria, the woods are getting darker. Riordan and Avrin, you can see now flickering in the shadows of the trees, beyond the trees, that you can't see what's there, anything other than yellow eyes. Sets of eyes here and there, 1 and 2, then more, the further into the woods you get. They don't seem to be approaching you, but they are at the height of a child or something else.
Riordan will instinctively put himself beside Averin, as he's carrying Lilly, and just stay ready as much as he can.
Yeah, Avrin sticks close to him, watching. And although she doesn't need to breathe, she takes some deep, slow breaths to try to calm herself.
Anuria, the further you get into the woods, the further you chase the stag, the faster it seems to be running away from you. You are exhausted, and Anuria is very injured as well. You are the weakest right now of all of your companions, and it's very difficult to keep up with the stag. I need you to make me a Constitution saving throw.
1 second, as my roll 20 has crashed.
Do you want me to roll it for you?
Yeah, that'd be great. Stuck on the loading.
Let's see here.
Inspiration? Too late? Nope.
Are you using? I haven't rolled it yet. I'll roll with inspiration. You got it.
The DM should work extra well, right? He did that on purpose. I get a +1.
Okay. All right. It's getting further and further away from you, and now you can see too, surrounding you on all sides of the paths and the shadows, these yellow eyes, only 3 feet off the ground, and they seem to be getting closer and closer as you rush through the woods. What do you do?
Shirak.
And light expands outward from your spell, and now you can see them. All of you can. The pale-faced, sharp-toothed Kender, their hair scraggly and wild, filled with twigs and leaves and dirt from being buried beneath the ground. Their stomachs open as though they were ripped outward, and from them their flesh hangs like tendrils. They don't have legs. They float off of the ground several inches. The bottoms of those flapping straps of flesh just tickling the dirt.
So here's a fun thing. I speak Kender. I would like to wave my staff out and say in the Kender language, I am your master here. Stay back. Or know a fate worse than the one that gave you this.
I'll allow you to make me an intimidation check.
Can I?
Point of inspiration.
Well, I was going to hold on. Can I assist? Can I give her an advantage if I do something to help?
Okay.
Absolutely, yeah.
Okay, then I don't need to use my...
Riordan's going to kind of put one of Lilly's arms around his neck and the other around Averin, and he's going to pull forth Absolution, and he's going to cast Daylight.
Nice.
So describe how your blade reacts to this, and how much does Riordan understand what he's doing?
He has no idea what he's supposed to be doing here. He just knows that Absolution can help at this moment. He doesn't know who tells him that, but perhaps it's a whisper that sounds like a command from a general. And he pulls out the sword, puts it above his head, and golden light pours from the blade.
For a moment, Averin, this light is so bright it reminds you of the sun that you stared into at the dawn of this day, but it doesn't burn your flesh. However, the light combined with Anuria's command does give pause to these creatures, these Kender. They continue to hover there, float there, their eyes shining in the golden light. And then they cover their eyes with 2 hands. They smile. and they turn and slink back into the forest.
Anuria smiles back at them and keeps moving.
You get to another bend, another crossroads of sort in the forest, and there the stag is again waiting for you down one of the trails. And beyond it, you can see the break in the woods. You can see true daylight.
I knew you'd do it, wizard.
Anuria looks at you as you say that, and it's like cracking of glass, and her confident self is not reflected in her face, but she nods, going through the motions. She's sweating profusely, some of that mixed with blood. And she looks to Avrin. Cover yourself. We still have a long way to go.
Yeah, Evan's gonna nod and do so.
Not today. Not today. She, both hands this time on her staff, walking.
The lot of you break through the tree line and into the daylight, and you find yourselves along the main road that leads into the forest, the same one that brought you here. You see before you the massive ruins of that stone giant, the colossus that you fought, laying there exactly where you felled it, turned into solid stone now. You see the road continue to stretch northward towards a distant woods, through a long grass-filled plain, and then a smaller set of mountains to your west, where the ruins of a temple lay, now smashed by the creature, and then the Dargard Mountains beginning to rise here to your east.
Find a place to rest.
Yes. The temple or the corpse?
The temple, of course.
The temple it is.
It's just a few hundred yards away to get to the ruins of the temple. All of you can make me perception checks. You find your way to the temple, this building that was once held up by stone ivory columns that had been knocked down as the giant ripped one of the columns out from the temple and used it as a club in which to hammer you with. There's still a section of the temple that you can duck into that provides you cover. There's not much in there that you can see without digging through, which you can do. But as you get to the edge of the cover, to the edge of the temple, you all feel compelled to look back. And as you glance back towards the forest that you came from, the Stormshire forest, all of you see a white horse with a pearl horn out of its nose. This horse is majestic beyond anything that a description can do justice towards. It has muscles rippling. Its mane is long and perfect and seems to change colors under the light of the sun and flows behind it with the whipping of the wind. There's an intelligence in its eyes, its blue eyes, and it watches you for a minute there, the edge of the woods, you at the edge of the temple.
I bow low. stand up straight. Can we find shelter here?
From a distance, the unicorn bows low, its horn touching the ground, and then raises its head again.
I look over to Riordan. I think it is your turn to lead the way. And I use my help action on him. Normally in how we would for a fight, but just to give him that pulsing light for just a moment. And I keep my head low as I back up a few steps. Don't be afraid.
Not afraid.
He'll walk towards the unicorn with his hands up.
I make it look in my peripheral vision like I'm going to follow him, and then I stop so he's walking alone. And I will also hold back Averin just out of a morbid sense of curiosity.
Averin staying behind, out of the light.
Yeah, I put my hand up. I don't actually physically stop you if you try.
Yeah, she's staying back. Almost as if she feels like it's not right if she approaches this majestic creature.
The creature takes a step, an even gait with Sir Riordan towards him, one at a time. Its hooves, you can see as you approach Riordan, are cloven, more like a goat's than a horse's. And its white fur changes color with its mane with every single step, blue to pale but vibrant green, and then back to white as it settles before you. And stands now, and that you're this close, it towers above you. It's much larger than you are, much larger than it looked from a distance. It stares down at you.
Thank you for your assistance. I believe I have you to thank.
There's a twinkle, almost like a smile, in its blue eyes, and it speaks to you. All of you can hear, though it doesn't open its mouth. It's like its voice presses on the wind itself. There are many here in this land who have you to thank, and many more yet who will. There is little I can do now, but what I can, I will.
Would you watch us as we rest?
I will do this, Riordan Pathwarden. You need not fear. Rest, for the days ahead will be very hard.
With your permission, if I may be so bold, may I ask of you 2 questions?
You may.
My brother was taken by the lord of this land. Does he live?
He does.
My love was taken by the lord of this land. Does she live?
Lorana lives. But she is fading.
If you talk to your friends in the north, on the wind, get a breeze to her ear, and tell her, we're coming.
She knows Riordan Pathwarden. She has never doubted it.
Thank you.
The unicorn bows its head a little bit, and the tip of its horn comes down to your shoulder and just touches the edge of your armor just slightly. You can feel warmth radiating from it on your face.
How can we repay you?
Just be who you were meant to be. If you are true to yourselves, then the world will be right again.
We will do all that we can.
I know that you will. The unicorn takes a single step backwards without turning away from you, and then a second step backwards. Rest now. The knights in the south are not the lord of this lands. They will attack his castle. If you wish to save your friends and your love, you must either join them or get there first. But first you must rest.
Can I... Oh, go ahead.
Again, thank you.
I'd like to switch to Elvish. Dear majestic creature, you honor us with your presence. If I might be so bold, I have something that I would ask of you. A single strand of your majestic mane to help me in these troubling times ahead.
The unicorn raises its head and rears up off the ground just slightly, one foot in the other and back. You can hear a sound escape its mouth, something not a whinny, but lower, earthier, like a grumble, like a growl. And then you hear its voice on the wind again. I have given you enough, and only for the sake of those who you help. But I know what you are, wizard. I know you. And the unicorn turns. It begins to gallop back towards the edge of the woods.
Seems Paladine has forsaken me after all. And I'll go and find a place to rest.
What's Averin doing during all of this? Is she just watching?
She's watching, but again, she's kind of in the shadows. She's not approaching, and if the unicorn looks over, we'll definitely incline her head. But she knows what she is. She doesn't feel right even daring to talk.
It never looks directly at Averin. As it turns and it runs back towards the edge of the forest, it's not that it goes through the tree line, it's that it almost vanishes, like it almost disappears as it gets to the edge. And then it's gone. It's late afternoon. More time has passed than you thought getting through the forest. Just like before, the woods are disorientating.
Let us rest. Perhaps it would be best to travel the road at night. He looks at Averin.
It would be less inconvenient.
I will take first watch.
I believe our friend will watch us. We can all rest as one.
All right. And I pull my hood up over my face, sit down, pass right out.
Avrin will shrug off Riordan's cloak and offer it back to him.
He would put it over Lilly.
Make me a medicine check.
She's fine.
Breathing steadily, it seems.
I'll look after her. You've done more than enough.
Let us just get north. And I can even make the noise as he gets down against the wall. You hear his...
My immersion.
Quickly goes to sleep.
Yeah. Avrin will stay up a little longer. Just check on Lilly again. And a part of her doesn't quite feel right sleeping at night somehow. But she tries to rest as much as she can.
Roll me medicine check.
Okay. I'm going to use an inspiration on this. — . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . . .
She's sleeping soundly as you're watching her struggling to actually get to sleep. What's Avrin's plan?
She doesn't know at this point. She promised she would help her friends, and she will. But her sister is here. And she knows that when she does wake up, she's not going to like this situation. And also probably knows that her father is out there, if not actively looking, likely aware of something. So she's just knowing she has to go up north and that she has to get her strength back. Tries to will away all of those thoughts. All of the feelings. She has no real time to process.
Roll me a charisma saving throw. Your mind moves in every direction, even as the sun's yet to set. You can see it getting closer and closer, the light outside dimming more and more. You feel a struggle to actually sleep. Everything has changed for you. Your body, the way you perceive the world. And then you are asleep. It happens almost instantaneously. One moment you're staring out at the plains through the overhang of this crumbled, ruined temple. And then the next you're somewhere else, amidst a sea of dead, some fleshless, some spectral, all ambling, moving slowly in a mockery of a daily routine, selling wares, eating food that's not there, puppets performing a play. You're there too. You feel drawn to join in the play. You see yourself standing there in a great city. Tall, magnificent buildings. A great body of water beyond white sand beach. But there are no living in this city. Just the dead performing a play. You're able to stop yourself, but you feel its pull. And then you wake up again.
Yeah, immediately drawing myself up straight. Out of habit more than necessity, taking a deep breath in. Look at my companions as they sleep or start to stir awake.
It's nighttime. There's no sun anymore. Anuria is still asleep. Riordan's still asleep. It's not quite been 4 hours yet. Lilly is gone.
immediately stand up and walk out and see if there's any trace of her or where she went.
You can roll me a. I'll let you do survival or perception.
Yeah, definitely perception. 17.
You don't see any trace of where she went. But what you do notice is you're looking back, like maybe she's somewhere in the temple. Maybe she woke up and she moved deeper in. You don't find her. You do see that Anuria's things are set out beside her and have obviously been pulled out and rifled through.
Is the thing gone? The serpent gone?
Are you going to wake up Anuria to see if she has it?
I'm going to look through myself. She needs her rest.
You don't find it.
Stand back up. That's news that can wait. If she's too far gone to catch up with. And she'll walk back out. And look out towards the forest that she last saw her father in. Part of her hoping to see him, the other hoping to never see him again.
You stare northwards along the long road beyond the grassy plain. You can't see the grove, the large forest that dominates much of Nightland. From where you are, it's too far away. You know it's there. But your father's not, and neither is Lilly.
She clenches her fist and looks up towards the sky. And we'll just, perhaps nobody, perhaps to whoever listening, we could work together. I tried. Not anymore.
The wind howls its answer to you. And that answer is that you are left behind, just as you have been before. And there, in the quiet of night, is where we will end our episode for this week.
Don't worry about keeping watch. The unicorn will watch us.
I mean...
Yep.
Yep.
Yep. Thanks, Uniface, for doing nothing. One of our party members is just wandering off. No, you can't, like, where's the fucking sass then, huh? Where's the fucking rearing and the neighing and the bullshit then? No, just fucking walk off with the only thing that we need to possibly live. That's cool. Fine. Whatever.
You all gain the benefits of a long rest.
Thanks.
Well, that's something.
Oh man. So welcome back, everyone. We did it. We escaped Harthalen. We made lots of choices. I honestly didn't know what was going to happen today. We're going to go ahead and put up a subscriber poll there. So if you're one of our subscribers, there's one more poll you can vote on. We'll go through all that here at the end. If you're not a subscriber, hey, subscribe. There's an extra poll. You can help your players out. They're going to need it, and I'll tell you why here in a minute. You probably noticed that some of the mechanics for corruption and redemption have changed, and that's because in our final season, which we are now in our final season of this particular story, I am introducing a redemption mechanic. It means something different for every character. The players don't know. We will find out when it happens, but characters gain redemption points sometimes just like they can gain corruption points. What's gone away is the ability to zero out your corruption through polls, which up to this point has protected a number of our characters from becoming more corrupt. So Riordan, Rookone especially have benefited greatly from that protection. But as our story comes to its end, things are going to get harder, believe it or not. And in one regard, corruption is going to become more of a real threat. So that's something to keep in mind. But let's go around. Let's talk to the cast and see how everybody's doing. I'm going to start with Tia because she's.
I'm not talking to you.
Like,
I'm so weird. Not friends right now. I hate horses. I hate them all. Even the ones. Stupid fucking. It doesn't matter. Stupid bitch. I had a lot of fun. And there was definitely a lot of nostalgia moments in this for the book that tugged at my heartstrings. There's nice. The heart of the forest hit me particularly hard. Yeah, today's flavor, if you were looking for the campaign, is salt. You're welcome. It feels good to be back. I'm really glad that I was able to get through the tech issues. In fact, I'm going to try and get it to break as soon as we go off camera again, because I'm starting to think that it was the background for some reason that might have been causing issues. So we'll see. When I yell at Dawn, I do it out of a special place of love in my heart, because I kind of joked about it earlier in D&D, and I get to play in a lot of groups and have a lot of fun. But sometimes I feel like the DMs take it a little too easy on their players, and you never get that feeling with Dawn. You never have to worry about him pulling the punches or taking the low road or whatever it is. He will just give it to you straight up, and I like that a lot. It feels challenging, and I like that. But also, fuck horses. You can find me on Mondays, Age of Arcana at 5 o'clock PST in Wandering DM's Homebrew World, which is going to be published in I don't know when. Tuesdays, The Long March, Campaign 3 from 2 o'clock to 5 o'clock. Wednesdays, here, having a good time. Tomorrow is my fiance's birthday. That's right, I got engaged. What of it? We're going to be partying over on my channel and doing a whole bunch of crazy shenanigans. I'm not sure what, but it'll probably be some sort of sellout stream so we can get Josh a computer so that we don't have to huddle together on my computer like a bunch of kids. And of course, our Critical Role party, as always. Fridays, I'm open at the moment, and Saturdays, I start Saltmarsh pirating over on Encounter Roleplay's channel. And I will be at Dungeons & Dragons Live. So if you're going to be there, keep an eye out for me, or an ear out. I'm actually really, really loud. It's hard to miss me in a crowd. You will hear me before you see me. Come up and say hi, even if you don't know me. If you feel weird or don't know how to approach the situation, just, hey, Anuria, what's up? That's all it needs. Doesn't matter if I'm eating. Doesn't matter if I'm talking to other people. The only time I ask that you don't ask me to do stuff is if I'm heading into the restroom, because that's just weird, you know. But come on, come say hi, and yeah, fuck horses. Did I say that? I feel like I didn't say that.
A couple of times you mentioned it.
Okay.
Yeah, I really didn't know if you I didn't know what you guys were going to do. I planned a bunch of different possibilities today, and this was the I did not think you guys would end up back in the forest again, but I'm kind of glad you did because I just started rereading again the Chronicles series, the original Dragonlance novels, and I just got through my own haunted forest today, and I was
I
like,
can feel that. I can feel that bleeding
yeah.
into your story so heavily. Like, and I love it. Like, give me more. Like, read Soulforge, motherfucker. Let's do this.
Love it. So yeah, that was a lot of fun. And I was really excited to see what Anuria would do because she had a very interesting end of the season, those last few minutes. And I wanted to see, I was very, very excited to see how she interacted with the other characters, what sort of decisions she made. I gave you guys numerous medicine checks throughout this episode.
I didn't make one medicine check. I don't think this episode. Actually.
But you weren't interested in Lilly at all.
Oh, if you had asked me, I would have straight up said, "What is she to me? I don't give a fuck. I'm not wasting my energy on that." Sorry, Kiana.
Well, we'll deal with the fallout of that when we come back to y'all after your long rest. Which enjoy that. That's what the unicorn really gave you was a long rest. But let's go over to Kiana. How are you doing, Kiana?
I'm doing good. I miss playing this game, and god damn, Avern's an interesting place right now. She hasn't quite let everything sink in yet, because she's doing the can't let it sink in. We got stuff to do. But I think with this is finally her letting go of her of what used to be her family, and letting go of like, nope, I can't like continue to try to be a family with them. I've tried. And I think this is like the last straw here. She has her friends and they've been with her more solidly than Lilly or Hawk / Fist and Antlers / the motherfucking he is. So yeah, it's gonna be an interesting little while, but I liked how I don't want to say low-key because we had a lot of fighting in this, but it was kind of low-key. It was very intimate. I think that's what it was, and I think I like that. I like having those moments with the characters. But yeah, you guys find me over on Twitter at KinaS. Best way to figure out what I'm doing. Come over the internet, doing social roleplay stuff, whether that's streaming or writing stuff, or being on the Discord. Come join us over on Discord because we like yelling about our games and the shows and all that fun stuff. So yeah, come hang over there. And you'll see me on Monday, actually, for episode 1 of Bad Moon Rising, our Urban Shadows campaign, which is super awesome. We're either playing soft, sweet people, or we're playing absolute assholes who are kind of evil-ish. So come see me be bubblegum pink and no morals person over there. Very different than Avern. So yeah, come over here, and we'll see you next week.
Yeah, I was very, just like with Anuria, seeing the new Avern was something I've been really looking forward to, especially detached from Hawthorn, which is kind of the start of Avern being a vampire, obviously, but it's not the end of it. And so to see what trajectory that might take next. Now you say this is the last time. It's done. You're done with these people, your family. You're cutting them off. We'll see about that.
Yeah, I mean,
she's not done a good job of it. So
abusive relationships are like that. But you know, she has her friends to kind of help cut that off. So yeah. We'll see how it goes.
I loved it. I really enjoyed all the small intimate moments, like you were saying. We managed to have a chase scene in there too, and some other stuff going on. I really enjoyed this episode, and especially for me as the DM, waiting a month or 5 weeks or whatever the last time we saw this set of characters, to see what they were going to be like now is really, really interesting for me. Before we go over to Greg, a couple of more things. I just want to mention it. I think Greg mentioned it before. Check out the donations at the bottom. They are changed, and they will change one more time this season because this is our last season. We have to stop taking guest spots at a certain point. If you want to be a guest star on the show, basically you have until the end of this month because then I have to start scheduling everything for the rest of the season to make sure we wrap up our story in a nice, tidy little way. So that's a thing. Check that out. And I really am excited to roll some charisma saving throws for your guys' corruption checks. However, because of the subscriber poll, one of you doesn't have to make a charisma saving throw, and that is Sir Riordan. You do not have to make your corruption saving throw. However, you do gain 1d4 corruption, and I'm going to roll it.
Oh, okay.
Oh, you can roll it if you want. You can do it.
It's now $1.
3. There you go. That's good, right? Good for you.
Yeah, you gain 3 corruption, which I think is the most that you've had like all season or all the entire series, right?
Yeah.
Correct, yes.
So Sir Riordan won one of the polls where he automatically gains 1d4 corruption, and Avrin won our other poll where she gains 1d4 redemption. So go ahead and roll me 1d4, Kiana. You gain 1 redemption point, and when you reach 10 points, something happens unique to your character. So go ahead and mark that down. I see here a 14 charisma saving throw for Kiana and Tia.
Oh no, that's the old one. Hold on.
Oh, okay. Yeah, give me another one.
14 again.
Both of you managed to fend off any additional corruption this episode. So thank you, Unicorn, for that. But Sir Riordan, you gain 3. I'm scared to see what happens. Part of me doesn't want Sir Riordan to ever become corrupt because I'm actually kind of terrified. Greg posted a photo earlier of him.
Oh my God!
And that to me, that's like Dark World Sir Riordan. That's my worst nightmare. That's the face you see.
That face, he posted that at like 9 in the morning in our private chat, and I just was not ready.
It's a lot to drink in.
Hey Greg, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, buddy. Just wanted to let you know the very next thing that was going to happen when we woke up, I'm sure after shit is flipped for this serpent thing, Riordan was going to rip Anuria's ass. So we'll put a pin in that for next week. Rip
You're stupid
ass.
fucking unicorn.
Ripping of the this. I've been planning this since right before the last time we woke up in Harthalen. There's going to be an
first fucking watch. Don't worry about it. Unicorn fucking get it.
I don't care. I got a long rest. I'm fine. I like unicorns.
I will say this, because our cast is split, next week we will be back with Rookone and our other new companions, joined by Wandering DM Simon, Frost from Fire Charlie, Laugh Love Lindy, as they continue to try to escape Dargard Keep and Lord Soth. And then the week after that, I believe we're off for a family event, and we will be back with this cast, and maybe to combine the 2 casts the week after that. So hold on to that ass ripping. I'm really looking forward to that, seeing how you all react when you wake up after your long rest. But Greg, it's all you, man.
Oh, okay, I just wanted to say that everybody please follow the channel, subscribe to the YouTube if you haven't. We have a lot of really fun stuff coming up. Frost from Fire Charlie is GMing Sky Chasers, which is a really fantastic, one of the greatest session zeros I think I've ever had was last Sunday when we developed these X-File characters. It was ridiculous. It was really, really fun. Can't wait to show you that. Totally different. We have another fantastic show on Urban Shadows Monday at 9 p.m. Eastern here. It's gonna be lit because it's deadly. I just started in that system and I'm like, we're all gonna die, and I can't wait for that. Completely opposite of Sir Reardon. And then of course we're back here for May Black Roses Bloom, and Dungeon of the Mad Mage is starting back up with the old cast as we delve deeper into Alistair Blackcloak's crazy place and have some fun. And also coming up on the channel, we are going to have a little Big Trouble, which is my love letter to the world of John Carpenter, where we meet characters and experience things from movies like Big Trouble in Little China, Escape from New York, The Thing, They Live, The Fog, all of my Halloween, all of my favorite ones. Very different type of adventures in each session. So please join us for that. It's going to be a hoot. And then I think we might have a little finger snapping and Marvel playing here towards the end of the month. But stay tuned. Join us all on Twitter to see all of that. Don, do you have anything else, my friend?
Yeah, just to say, you can follow me on Twitter if you want. I'm doing a bunch of stuff. This month, I start writing a bunch of projects, and I'm finally able to start sharing some of them. Some of them are super cool. I'm really excited about all of them. I'm getting married in a month. I should say that just because I'm really excited about it, so I'm just going to keep saying it. And tomorrow, you can find me on twitch.tv/RPGWebby. We are playing some Game of Thrones. I'm playing my old Dornish knight, and there's a tournament. I get to do what I think the coolest mechanics in the Game of Thrones the system is, which is their mechanics for tournament fighting. I'm really excited about it. I'm probably gonna get embarrassed. It's Game of Thrones, so like, you don't get what you want. You usually get killed instead. But it's been a really fun game so far, and it's brand new. So if you're around tomorrow at 4 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, check out RPG Webby. But that's it for me.
Awesome, buddy. Make sure you pick up some Starbucks before you play, and just sit back and have fun. And so everybody, please have fun. Join the other group back here next week as they go through Don's ever-spiraling hell. We'll be back in the schedule. Follow us all. But as the campfire goes down, there's only one thing left to say. You can't always roll nat 20s, especially on animal handling checks, but you can always role play. We'll see you next time, friends.